Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to see you all. I'm going to have a talk today about accessibility. So let's get to it. So accessibility. The challenge here, oh yeah, that's too small, right? Oh, that sucks. So, I mean, the common thing with accessibility is making apps, easy to consume. So we can do that. How many here speak Spanish? Okay, not too many. Okay. Let's go to English instead, which is also another accessibility technology, localization. Boom, there we go. Thanks to Daniel, we now know how to do this. So my talk will be about accessibility, but seen from the other side. A lot of talks are about APIs and how we can implement this and that, but I think we all forget about the actual user. I mean, someone's out there on the other side using this. So, short intro about me. I'm a freelancer since 2017, but I've been building apps for the Apple platform since 2009. I run Ambi Studio with my wife, Sofia. She couldn't attend today, unfortunately, but this is us at Infinite Loop, a magical place. Ooh. So these are some of our apps and some of our clients. So, why is everyone talking about accessibility nowadays? Like the last year, everyone is talking about it so much, all of a sudden, even though it's always been important. So the fact is that since July this year, it's a legal requirement for a lot of businesses to be accessible. One of them are parking kiosks. So this is one from Napoli I took a month or so ago. And this is supposedly, well, this has to be accessible now by law. But since it's in Italy, it's going to take them a few years before they actually look into this. So, yes. So the law itself, it's called European Accessibility Act, EEA. Unfortunately, it's an act, so it doesn't say exactly what you have to do. It's more of like guidelines. And then it's up to each country to decide how you're conforming to those guidelines. And it's relying on the WCAG, which is an accessibility documentation, defining what should be working in what way. Today, I'm going to be talking about 3 different accessibility technologies that I find very important. And you'll never guess the last one, just like in those TikToks. So the first one is obviously VoiceOver. VoiceOver is super important. And the purpose of it is basically to making the contents on the screen available for users who can't consume the screen content. It doesn't mean that you're blind. It can be for any kind of reason, you just cannot consume it. So with native components, we get a lot of things for free, which is great. But not with custom components. And I have a great example here. Is anyone here working on Bump, by the way?
Not that kind of Bump.
Okay.
What is Bump?
Bump is an app. And I'm just so glad nobody from Bump is here today. This is Bump. So this is a super quick UX audit. So this is like the first screen we see when we start Bump. And as a user, you see the interface and you can kind of figure out how this works. You see a few buttons, you see a few things. Awesome, cool. For a VoiceOver user, you actually only see this. So if I just go through them real quickly, and you can all close your eyes, and I'll be VoiceOver. Thank you, Anton, for committing. Button, button, button notification, image search, places, button, 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 1. You can open your eyes now, Anton. So, for a VoiceOver user, and I think you can relate, this is not usable. So many buttons. I mean, we all love buttons, but if you don't know what they do, what's the purpose of them? So with a few simple changes, we can make this usable. So here, this is the exact same screenshot, the exact same UI. The only thing we did here was that we applied a few accessibility labels. The top one, It's map dot 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 because that is the map view from Apple. That has a few things that we can change. Let's not focus on that. We're focusing on the components we have added here. So for VoiceOver user, the UI would now be open profile, button, open profile visitors, button, open notifications, button, search field, double tap to edit, unlock areas, button, open messages, button, open my places, button. So if you're a VoiceOver user, you suddenly get a context of what you can do inside the app. You know you're inside Bump because you opened Bump, but now you actually understand what options you have and where you can go inside the app. This is so much more usable, even though it's not perfect. We can do a lot of things here, but let's not get into that. This is a lightning talk. And I have one more screenshot from this app, which is my inbox. So I opened the inbox in Bump, and I can't close it. As a VoiceOver user, I'm now stuck in my inbox forever. Even though I really like my friends, this is not good. I have to actually kill the app to get back to the previous view. So if you ever build a sheet or a modal or any kind of view that should be dismissible, you should always have a button that dismisses it. And this is an extra, a gold star in the corner, if you do the escape gesture. So VoiceOver users can do two finger and then do the sorrow sign, do a Z. And that means dismiss. So if you do two finger swipe and do a Z, this should close. Or if you're in a navigation stack, you should pop the view and go one view back. And you get that for free, once again, if you use native components. Cool. Next technology, full keyboard access. Full keyboard access is about interacting with apps or your device using only a keyboard. Once again, you get this almost completely for free if you use native components. And there's one really important detail here, is that you should only be able to focus on interactive components. So let's say you have a stack view with a lot of labels and a button at the bottom. For a full keyboard access user, you should only focus on the button.
Excuse me, I'm not really following you here. What is this actually for?
I have a demo in the next slide.
Okay.
No worries. So this rule is kind of interesting. Apple pushes it as well. So only use on interactive components, but it's a sort of here. And now comes the demo. So I'm going to show you how this actually works and why there's a sort of down there. Yay! Okay, if we go down to here, so I have an iPhone in front of me. Do you see that? Yep, perfect. So this is a regular iPhone, regular keyboard. So I can control this using only my keyboard. You can enable this in settings. And this is for users who just only interact with your device with this. So if we go into, I have a few notes here. Yeah, so an example here is if we go into General, we go into About, and I press up and down here to focus, and white space activates. So I can focus now on model name, for example, which is weird because this is doing nothing. So here we already find a scenario where we should not be focusable on this element, but for some reason, this is okay. Do you have a question?
Does VoiceOver interact with full keyboard access and announce it as you go along?
Okay, that's a good question. So full keyboard access and VoiceOver are two different technologies, but you can have them working together, which means that with VoiceOver, you can swipe left and right to move left, or down the hierarchy or up, which means just going through the elements. And you can use a keyboard instead. If the user cannot, for example, swipe on the screen, you could use a keyboard or another device to go to the next element. But full keyboard access is for users who can actually consume the content on the screen but cannot interact with the screen. So
If they can interact with keyboard, I'm just not able to assemble when they cannot swipe the phone. I mean, they are able to interact with the keyboard.
So, for example, imagine this keyboard is just one way to interact. These also exist as pedals, for example, where you could just use your feet as an example, or something you can control with your mouth, for example. There are much simplified versions of the keyboard to interact, and it's called switch control. So if we continue with the demo, I can show you that the rule is only focus on interactive elements, but that is not always true. And have a fun, oh, it's locked. I have a fun example here. If we go into legal, that is my favorite view in settings, and we go into warranty, we see here that if I press tab, which should focus on the next thing, we see that I cannot read this view now, right? Because there's nothing interactive in this ginormous UI label. So what you do is you make this interactive, which is what this blue line means. I can focus on it, and then I can press Tab G to enable gestures, and that means that I can input scrolling gesture into this view. So that way, I as a user who cannot swipe or touch the screen can still consume this content. Now, it's really easy to get this wrong. An example is Apple Health. We go into the onboarding, we see the learn more button, and ooh, we want to learn more. We get this. I cannot focus on this label. I press tab, I press up, down, left, right, nothing happens. What does this mean? It means I cannot view what is in here. So this is the sort of text I put in there. We have to enable focusability on some elements which we need to make available for the user. So once again, it's more like guidelines. It's not rules.
Add bars by side, but it's not your business.
Sorry?
You can add bars, side bars, so you can scroll them up there, but it's not there.
I mean, we could add buttons.
No, there's a bars you can put inside, so you can scroll up and down.
Well, this is Apple's view.
Okay, that's why I mean it's not there.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So that was my quick demo. I hope that answered your question, what this actually is.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So that's full keyboard access. And the final one of the three technologies, landscape mode. What if you would have to consume your content like this? Would you love it or hate it?
Yes, that's I.
So we have a lot of users who have the device in a holder, and it's fixed in this orientation. And these accessibility users, they cannot just flip it over like I do, maybe you do. So, yeah, please enable landscape orientation in your apps. And as a big bonus, since you already support dynamic type, big labels are much easier to read in landscape mode, because suddenly you can fit more than just one or two letters next to each other. So, two examples here, Apple Maps and the Apple Developer app. And to be honest, I really struggled finding good apps that support landscape mode on iPhone. So if you add this to your app or have it, ping me and I'll put you on this slide for next time.
Use my app.
Your app, okay, next time, I promise. Okay, so final notes. Focus on UX. So with accessibility and voiceover and keyboard navigation, it's not about following the rules to be compliant with the rules exactly as they are. Instead, make sure that the user can use your app. That's the purpose of it. And being a user who are using voiceover, full keyboard access, dark mode, whatever it may be, design is not your primary concern. It's about being able to use the app. Design comes second. Of course, we all love beautiful apps, but accessibility should be above that. Of course, always try to keep it simple. Don't try to overcomplicate things. Once again, usability is the focus. And also a tip from me is try VoiceOver or full keyboard access. It is not very difficult. And if you want to know how to get started, come to me after this talk and I'll show you how you enable it. Yes, Daniel.
I was actually going to add a tip, if you don't mind. It is your talk. Though, in iOS, whatever the newest one is, they've really ramped up the support for menu bars, and that's indexed and searchable by the system. That's a really nice way to add accessibility able like functions and features without necessarily having to have a button on your screen. And power users and stuff like it as well. That's quite an easy way to start, I guess.
Cool. Yep.
Does that work on, because I know they made a lot of changes to iPad with the menu bar on top and stuff. Does that work on iPhone as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't get the menu bar, but they're all still there.
Okay, nice.
Other Daniel?
What would you say to a company who want to build a custom slider or page view? What would you say?
Quote
So-
on your hourly rate.
So I happen to work at a big company right now with a client who have everything custom. And we have a lot of engineers investing a lot of engineering hours building that, but also having it support all the accessibility technologies. So I would say go ahead, but it's going to cost you. That's what I would say.
Just wanted to say that it's a very relevant but underrated topic. And when you were demoing, I just realized I'm sometimes stuck in that myself, but you just accept it as there's no way around and you just carry on with it. So thank you for that.
I've been trying this out a bit as well with my own projects, and I struggle quite a bit with actually understanding what the use case or the situation for people who have different kind of disabilities would use the app. Do you have any source for that or any tips on how to actually start learning about how to build, not just on a technological level, but I mean, for instance, I know that you can sort of make your own map of how you move between items in a view and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
But then again, feels like I'm just it's a guess game for me how to do it. So how do you learn? I know you've been doing this for quite some time, and I just feel it would be interesting to know how to learn that kind of side of the story as well.
Yeah, okay, so I knew the technologies, like I think most people here do. I think what really got me, over to the other side of it was using it myself. I mean, just learn how to enable and disable VoiceOver, and then start using your favorite apps with only VoiceOver.
Okay.
And you're gonna see oh, we can do this, oh, you can do that. And you're also gonna quickly learn oh, I cannot exit my inbox. Is there something I don't know, or is this broken? And that's how you slowly learn. But you can also, of course, post in the Cocoaheads Slack.
Sorry guys, one more last question.
Okay, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know whether it's possible to have this full keyboard access in simulator. And the second question is about how can we imagine how people are interacting with VoiceOver? Do you close your eyes and trying to interact with the application? Because we do not have these disabilities. How to develop these skills?
Perfect. First question, can you enable it in the simulator? Yes, you can, but in the simulator, it works slightly different. One, it's on the Mac. Two, it's a simulator, so it's not meant for QA of any kind. So, and question number two, how do you actually become a user of VoiceOver yourself? You take 3 fingers, tap twice. With VoiceOver enabled, that's gonna blacken your screen completely. So now you suddenly are a VoiceOver user. You cannot see what's on the screen. Do that same thing again to turn on the screen again, by the way. Yeah, but you can cheat with that.
Great, let's, yeah, I'm sorry, but we will have a break now, and you guys can reach out to César, and he will answer more questions. We will meet in 7 minutes for our final talk. So yeah, let's have a break now. Thank you for your talk.
Thank you.